At least 20 years. And he has been consistent. He has remained relevant. And you can see in what is happening here that God is faithful. Is God not faithful? Please put your hands together and celebrate Jesus. So, because my time is short, and I also want to celebrate Pastor Paul, the leadership and management of the church. Thank you all for having me. It's a privilege. I do not take it for granted. My topic is supposed to be executive culture and etiquette. And I'm supposed to be speaking to younger people, but I can see not so young people also in the room. So I'm a bit not sure what direction exactly to go. Yeah, I won't lie, I'm a bit confused. Because I was thinking I'll meet young people, and now we have a mixed audience. So should I assume we are all young? Okay. Thank you very much. Our Father, we thank you. We give you all the praise. Father, we ask that this afternoon, let your kingdom come and let your will be done. Let hearts be blessed, let your word go forth, and let it bear fruit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you open to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 14, yes, I know Bible too, even though it's not put there. The Bible says that, but you must continue in the things which you have learned and been assured of, knowing from whom you have learned them. I'll read it again. 2 Timothy 3 verse 14, but you must continue in the things which you have learned and been assured of, knowing from whom you have learned them. This is the message of Paul to Timothy and the church, such that Paul is trying to tell him that there is a culture, there is a way, there is a pattern, there is a how in which you should operate, and you should not go outside that. For every organization, there is always a culture. I was sitting in the waiting room and I heard someone say, I love my pastor. I understand that's a culture here, right? We celebrate our pastors. So there is a culture in every setting. There is a culture in every organization. And you must be able to follow the culture. As a young person, this is applicable the ways in church as much as applicable outside. And I'm going to be hitting some notes today that may not be very nice, but will be very instructional. What slows many young people down today is not because they are not brilliant, but that when they get into a space, they are not sensitive of the culture of that space. And so a person is in an organization for 5 years and has not been promoted. The person is good technically, but has not studied the organizational culture to know what obtains and what does not obtain. And then you say that the boss does not like me. I'm speaking to young people now. I came here for you. They are too difficult. They don't understand me. The question is, have you sat down to understand the culture of the organization? Every organization has a culture. Every organization has a culture. The reason you may be struggling sometimes, there's something called person-organization fit. Sometimes your own values may not fit into a culture of a place. If you realize, and I'm going to define culture, if you realize that your own values and ideas does not fit into a space, you have two options. Is either you change your idea and your values or you leave that space. Are you with me? I'm trying to tell you what will help you not just now, but in 2023 and beyond. And I'm speaking to the young people because there is a way of operating in the corporate space, talking about executive culture. There is a way you must talk, there's a way you must act, there's a way you must walk, there's a way you must present yourself. Are we together? I know the older people may not fully be with me today, but I want to speak to the younger ones. Culture is defined as idea, customs, social behavior of a particular people. Of a particular people. Now, let's talk about this as Christians. One of the culture of God is love. The Bible says God is love, yes? God is love. And God expects us as believers to be love beings in whatever we do. And one of the culture of God, again, is holiness. And the Bible teaches us that we should be holy. This is a culture, is a way of life, is a being. The Bible says in Romans chapter 12 that we should not be conformed to this world, but we should be transformed. So there's a culture in the world. But he's saying that we should switch to our real culture, because when we give our lives to Christ, we become a new creature. So we belong to a different organization. And so we are expected, according to God, to function within the culture of the organization that we belong to. Do you understand what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is that when you are coming for a corporate program, for instance, and you are wearing a slippers, you are not respecting the culture. Is somebody with me? Many people want to be taken seriously, but they don't take themselves seriously. Are we here? You cannot ignore protocol and expect to be regarded. Young people, there is the social norm, there is trend, and then there's the way things should be done. And no matter how much you try to deviate from the way things should be done, you will come back to it. Some of the ideologies that are being sold are not sustainable. I know I'm sounding like I'm speaking in abstract, but I know that I'm speaking to people. Some of the ideologies that are being sold to you are not sustainable. So no matter how far you go with the norm of it's okay to, for instance, open up some part of your body when you are going for a corporate meeting or when you are coming to church, no matter how socially acceptable it becomes, it cannot be sustainable. Because when they want to choose someone for a serious role, they will not pick you. Do you understand what I'm saying? They will say it's okay. It's her life. It is life. Let him live it the way he likes. But when they want to select someone for something, they will say, no, we cannot pick that person. He doesn't dress well. Am I making sense? And so I'm here to say to you, you must be sensitive to culture and etiquette. You must not ignore your environment and say, I do not care. The difference between starting and how far you go is how much you understand systems and the way things are done. To start is okay. Many people are starting. There's a lot of message about, starting. To start is not the problem. But how long you will last is a function of how sensitive you are to cultures and etiquette. Am I making sense to someone today? So let me bring it home so that it makes sense. We're in church, right? And there's a way we are supposed to dress to church. And whether you like it or not, you're being observed. You're being observed. Whether you're a unit member or HOD or whatever, you're being observed. Now, beyond your spiritual abilities, you're also being judged for character. Character is what is expected of you in a particular space. And so, I am here to tell you that whether you will go far, and you see, what I'm saying is not, you see some people come into a church, and in 2 years, it seems like they left the people that have been in that church for 10 years, and they've been promoted. Have you seen that before? Am I talking to you? Please give me some people. Have you seen that before? A person comes into a church, in 2 years, he has become a deacon. And then there's somebody else who has been there for a long time, but it's not. Go and check. Your sensitivity to culture will determine how speedily you will grow in whatever space you find yourself. So there's no need envying the young boy who enters and rises. Go and check what he's doing right and do it also. So am I making sense to somebody? Who is he? When did he come? He was a child when I joined ministry. But he's doing something that you are not doing. And that's what will count eventually. I hope I'm speaking to someone today. We are in a disruptive era where you cannot hold anything. You cannot hold anything. It's either you move or you are left behind. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you look at the rate of growth and performance today, you will realize that it is no longer a function of sometimes even how many years experience you have or how old you are. You must understand and respect norms and culture, and you must follow through if you will rise. Technology has broken the walls of limitation. I will say that again. Technology has broken the walls of limitation such that God has given every believer an opportunity to make great strides. But if we will succeed in the corporate space, if we will make an impact, then we must be sensitive to culture and etiquette. My time is not very much, and so I'm going to drive straight into the actual points that I came here. If you look at Daniel chapter 6 and verse 3, the Bible says, "Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors and the satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king gave thought to setting him over the whole realm." I will read it again. Then this Daniel, I don't know what your name is, but my name is John. So I'm going to say, then this John. So the scripture is there, right? Let's go. Then this John distinguished himself above the governors and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king gave thought to setting him over the whole realm. If you are going to excel, you see, true success is not when you achieve something. True success is for how long we are able to keep that achievement. Is somebody with me? Should I say that again? There are people who will arrive, but they won't stay there for long. And one of my biggest fears in life is arriving too early. Is somebody in church? Arriving too early. Arriving yet not prepared. Arriving not being aware of the culture and the etiquette of the space in which you are going to function. So you can be promoted at work and it will become the beginning of trouble for you because you are not ready. Is somebody still in church? So, let's get practical about etiquette. And I'm going to say this. When you are interacting with people, please learn this. It's going to make you very special. Pay attention to names. When you get into a space, young people, you want your boss to like you, you want to get promoted, pay attention to names. When you meet someone for the first time, ask for their name. And the next time you see them, address them by their name. Is somebody with me? Now, there's a place where you say good morning, sir, which is a bit of an African culture. But you see, in the corporate space, sometimes the sir doesn't really matter. People, there's a psychological impact, and I'm an emotional intelligence expert, so I can tell you this. When someone sees you after 6 months, and you only met once, and you call that person's name, there's something it does to the person. They just like you. Am I making sense to you? They like you. And so their defense comes down, and whatever else you're going to say after that, they listen. Are we together? What I'm telling you today may be the secret to the next business meeting you are going to have after now. Practice these things. These are etiquettes that apply to the corporate environment. So, always tell your full name. That is another thing. When they ask you what is your name is not just John. My name is John Asiegbu. The I comes before the E for the media guys, if you can edit that. You call your full name, especially if you bear a common name like Shola, Kunle what? And another thing I want to teach you today is there is nothing like my names are. Am I making sense to you? My name is Babalola Ayotunde, whatever. It is. No, you are one person. All the name belongs to you. You are not an A. You are one. I hope you are learning something. Great. Now, let's talk about, when we're talking about etiquette, and we talk about writing. So if you work in a corporate environment, you write a lot of emails, text messages. These days, corporate organizations are accepting WhatsApp as one of their tools for communication. So let me say this to you. When you're going to send a message to your pastor, to your MD, to your team lead, please always proofread your text before you send. Am I making sense to you? You see, the person may not tell you that you made a mistake, but you have left an impression in their head. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when they want to give an assignment, they will say, that person does not pay attention to details. He will not be able to handle it. Because consistently you have been sending messages full of typo. Am I making sense to you? You see, I've quoted Bible, right? So you know I'm a church person. See, but you then, when we step out of here, there are organizational, there are cultures, acceptable norms and non-acceptable norms. And you cannot, permit me to say, finish speaking in tongues and write emails that are full of error and you expect to be promoted at work. Are you understand what I'm saying? Is somebody in church? Pastor Paul, am I being too... The anchor said it's a hot afternoon, so everything should be hot. So I thought I should make it hot small. The world is not waiting for anyone. No. It's not going to wait. It doesn't matter what you think, what you say, it's not going to wait. We must, as we transform as believers, the Bible says that we are not of this world. However, we are in this world to dominate. Do you understand what I'm saying? Many times we tilt towards the path of not being of this world and we stay there. And that is why we are not relevant in the scheme of things. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why we are not relevant. And now, oh Lord, have mercy upon me. We want to choose a leader and we are being sidelined. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are we not being sidelined? Because you have not taken the bold step of being relevant so that we can be stakeholders and decision makers. So that we can hold things down in the corporate space, in government. So that we can be excellent people. The Bible says Daniel had a spirit of excellence. You know, when they bring up conversations like this, we tend to wear a spiritual cap. And we think that, oh, this is not Bible. Jesus, the Bible says that he grew in stature and he found favor. You don't just find favor if you don't look attractive. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can, when you pass by someone that is smelling, do you want to stand and talk to them? Somebody please talk. Do you want to stand and talk to them? So if Jesus found favor in the sight of God and man, there was something he did consistently that attracted people to him. And if you are going to make a difference as a people, as individuals, we must also pay attention to generally accepted norms of how to function in spaces. I've talked about one, how you should pay attention to names. I've talked about how you should be careful when you write. Do not send an email that is filled with error. Now, let me say something here around etiquette. There's something called time. There's something called time. The greatest asset in life is time. Do you know? That is the only thing that everybody has equally. And you see, many of us don't pay attention to the power and the importance of time as it affects etiquette. They fix a meeting for 4. You come 4:15. And you see, excuses are okay. The person, oh, it's fine, join the meeting. But you are shortchanging yourself when you do not learn the discipline of punctuality. Is somebody in church? You are shortchanging yourself when you don't learn the discipline of punctuality because it becomes a habit. It becomes your own culture. And then that culture will counter the culture in spaces and then we wonder why we are not moving forward. One of the things that is holding Africa back It's our African time mentality. Is somebody still in church? I'm talking. This is real truth. The day we start respecting time, we will grow as a people. Should I say that again? The day we start respecting time, God cannot create. The Bible says God created the day and the night. Do you understand? God, in his wisdom, created time to help you to function effectively as a person. So if you struggle to get to class at 8 and you get there 8:10 all the time, you are setting yourself up. It may not happen at once. It's slowly. Your personal life is affected. Your business life is affected. Even your spiritual life may be affected. Is somebody still in church? So, you must understand these principles, these etiquettes, and keep to them. Be punctual. When a meeting is fixed, whether it is church meeting or office meeting, be the first person to arrive. It is better to be early than to be late. It is better to be early than to be late. You cannot be fined for coming too early. I was training an organization yesterday at Yaba, and I was supposed to start the training for 8:30. And because I was coming there from the island, and if you know how Lagos traffic works, if you don't leave your house at a certain time, a journey of an hour can become 4 hours. You know that. So I set out at about 5:30 for a meeting that is for 8:30. I got there at about past 7, so I waited an hour. You know, they put me in a room and all that. I waited. But there is the joy of arriving early than when you arrive late and they are waiting for you. Some people think it makes you important. They will wait. If you disregard people's time, with time you will be disregarded. Is somebody still in church? Another thing I would like to tell you is this. The way you dress, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that one. The way you dress. The way you dress. It's almost like a struggle. It's almost like a struggle for some of us. The way you dress. Now, dressing does not mean you're tattered or your clothes is torn. Dressing is protocol. I'm going for a birthday party. There should be a way you dress. I'm going for an office meeting. There should be a way you dress. I'm going for Owambe. There should be a way, right? All of us know the Owambe dressing. But when they invite us for interview, we wear Ankara to go and attend an interview. Or you wear a shirt that is not ironed and you go and attend an interview and you want to be taken seriously. These are etiquettes. You should be properly dressed. If you're wearing a shirt, you must wear a pant and a trouser. These days, it is corporately accepted, I've observed in Nigeria, to wear native. So there is traditional corporate, but it must be complete. So you wear your kaftan, you wear your cap, and you wear your shoe. You are completely dressed. So I'm not here to say you must always wear tie or dress like no. But you must dress in an acceptable manner. I said earlier that if I wear a kaftan and I wear what we call the palm slippers, right? And I come to you and I say hello, the way you will respond will be different from if I wear the same kaftan and I wore a shoe like this. Do you know that? Do you understand what I just said? It will be different. And it just tells you how you will be accepted. Because there is an expectation in every space. That is culture. The ideas, the norms of an environment. So you are not expected to wear sandal to work. Some of us work in the church office. And because it is church, we think it is okay to dress a certain way. It doesn't really matter. It's God we are doing it for. No. Excellence must be a culture. Whether somebody is looking at you or not. Whether somebody calls you out or not. Because it will count long time. Go and check anybody who has risen in any space. Watch closely. They have been sensitive to the culture of that environment and they have maintained excellence. And I would like to pause and say that excellence is not always expensive. Is somebody in church? There's something called thrift stores. Somebody go on Instagram. Later, maybe not now. Search thrift. It's spelled Thrift. Some of those stores are where you can buy what somebody is buying for 50,000 naira, you will see it there for 10,000 naira. You don't have to believe me, search for yourself. And when you come out, nobody will be able to tell the difference between you and the person that bought it for 50,000 naira. That's what I mean when I say that excellence is not expensive. It's a choice. It's who you are. It's how you want to come out. It's what you want to represent. And that is what will matter really at the end of the day. So, your dressing is critical. Very critical. For ladies, please don't fall to the norm. Some people say back in the day, our forefathers and our mothers used to tie wrapper only here and here. That was then. Now we wear clothes, we cover it up. Now, some people are coming to sell you the idea of opening some parts up, and you think it's okay. The question is, ask 10 people, normal people, not the people that, ask 10 normal people if it is okay, and the response you get, just do a poll and use that to judge. You cannot say, I do not care, it's my life. You say that means you are trying to say you live in a world and it's only you, and so your choices are not going to be affected by your environment. That's a big lie. We must be conscious of our environment in everything that we do. Even the Bible teaches us to be decently dressed, such that we do not lead other people to sin. Some sisters, when they pass by you, you have to quickly take your face away as a man before you sin against God. You know, the Bible says that even by just thinking, you have already sinned. Aha. A brother is looking at you and say, yeah, it's true. So sometimes you just quickly have to turn. You don't have to be that person for whom people will stay away from because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. Let me talk about practicing good hygiene as etiquette for young people. Teenagers, those in their early 20s. I know that you don't have a lot of money, you are still in school, you are still discovering yourself, you're going through puberty. Young people here and parents of young people here, there's something called deodorant. I say this because I experience it enough, a lot. A lot of young people don't take care of their personal hygiene. Sometimes they dress nice, but when you move close to them, you don't like what you perceive. Am I making sense? So there is the place of parents guiding us and telling us about how important it is that when we come out, we must smell good. And then there's the place of the young person also taking responsibility for their hygiene. Do you comb your hair? Do you brush your teeth? Do you brush your tongue? When you're brushing your teeth, you're meant to focus on your tongue because that's where the smell comes. See, I'm here to help you. I'm sure some people have come and teach scripture. Me, I want to teach you etiquette so that everything can come together. Am I making sense? Good. So you would brush your tongue. It's not chaka, 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 chaka. No. Is somebody still here? So it is important that when you are preaching the gospel, for instance, you come to me, you want to tell me Jesus loves me. You should not also be killing me at the same time. So you see that sometimes we shoot ourselves in the leg as believers. Am I making sense to you? We are worded, we speak in tongues, but nobody wants to listen to us because of the experience that they have had when they engaged us. And like I said earlier, you can choose to accept, you can choose not to. Some things have come to stay, and that is that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And one way to show that you care, according to emotional intelligence, is how your behavior affects the other people. It is selfishness to say, I'm not going to take my bath today because I don't feel like. And then you go in the midst of people and they cannot breathe. That is wickedness. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are we still here? I don't know. Is there a timer somewhere? So that I can know how many minutes I have left. So, it is important that you cut your nails. Some people want to keep long nails. See, listen, when you You think about it. When you see someone with long nails, what comes to your mind first? It's distracting, right? You are first distracted. So I don't know why anybody deaths hide in the nail. Is somebody here? So sometimes you may fall sick from keeping long nails. Except pastor said that the Holy Spirit said if you keep long nails, you are going to succeed in your career. Please cut your nails regularly. Is somebody still in church? Another principle of interaction as it concerns etiquette, and many of us are guilty of this one. When you are in a meeting, please keep your phone away. Except you and the other party have mutually agreed that it's okay to use your phone. This is not easy, not even for me. It is disrespectful that someone is talking to you and you are using your phone. Is somebody still with me? It is unethical for you to be using your phone in an office meeting. It is unethical. It is disrespectful to the people, the person that is talking to you. Let me teach you something else. When someone is speaking to you, it is not ethically okay for you to turn your body away from them. You must face the direction of the person talking to you so that they know that you are listening to them. I will teach you this also. It is important that you make eye contact. There's something I call the 65 principle. It is that you look away. By away, I mean you're not looking into the eyes of the person for 60 seconds, and then the next 5 seconds you're looking into their eyes. Why I say you look away is that when you look into someone's eyes for too long, you make them uncomfortable. Do you understand what I'm saying? Except you are lovers and you are in a romantic mood. You shouldn't be staring at somebody into their eyes for over a minute. So you look at them for a while, then for 5 seconds you look, and then you take your eyes to their shoulder, and then you look at their shoulder while they speak to you. But you must always be facing the person that is talking to you. I hope you're learning. You see, what I'm just telling you is what will make 90% of communication is not the words that is spoken. It is in the body. So, what you're understanding from what I'm saying now is not the words from my mind. It's my eyes, my hands, is helping your understanding. So imagine that you are talking to someone and you are facing the other way, and they cannot read, which is why I always say that a time will never come that virtual interaction will replace physical interaction. That day will not come. Emphasis on the word replace. Because when you're talking over the phone or over Zoom, you're not getting all the information. Is somebody with me? Do you know why people fight a lot in relationships these days? Because we communicate virtually more than we communicate physically. So one thing I can teach you as a person, when you want to have a serious conversation, please request a physical meeting if possible. Where it is not possible, then you can have a video call. Where that is not possible, then you can do emails or you can do SMS. Do you see the trend? Now, let me tell you what happens. As what I just described, communication effectiveness reduces from physical communication. In a video call, it won't be the same as physical. In a text, so that's why people fight a lot from chatting, because when I send you a message, it doesn't carry everything that I'm saying because you are not with me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is easy for you to misunderstand me. So the next time, just tell the person, can we meet and talk? And I promise you that matter will be resolved even faster. Is somebody still here? And the last point I'm going to make today before I drop the microphone, as regards executive culture and etiquette, is that you must learn to go the extra mile. You must learn to go the extra mile. If all you do is all you are asked to do, you will never go far in life. If all you do is just what you are asked to do, you are not innovative, you are not creative, you are going to be very limited. Is somebody still here? You are going to be limited. So you must go the extra mile. As head of department, as a team lead, as head of media, you must go the extra mile. What more can I do to make things easier for the organization? What more can I do to make things easier for the pastor? You must go the extra mile. Ethic is that you are sensitive to the need of the other person and you look for ways to make their life better. That's what we teach in empathy. Empathy is a component of emotional intelligence. And I wish that was what I came here to talk about. You see, you must learn to put yourself in people's shoes at all times. It will aid communication, it will aid understanding, it will aid productivity. Am I making sense to you? Thank you very much. I'll stop here. My time is up.
Let's put our hands together. Yes. Thank you so much. Let's put our hands together. Thank you. That was such a great session. We would have further discussion, but just so we don't go on talking for so long and we lose your concentration, we will be having a short dance presentation. So right now, after that, we would have more discussion. We'll have a panel session where we're talking about a topic in the in-depth level, and then we can have questions. Then we would, pass slips, and then you can ask your questions. But for now, please put your hands together as I welcome the youth dance crew. Please put your hands together for them as they come forward. Please keep clapping. Please keep clapping.
The Lord has not been good to you. But if you can sit down and think through, you will know that the Lord is good. Think about the fact that you are not in the hospital. Think about the fact that you are not in the mortuary. Think about the fact that you have the awareness of things going on around you. The fact that you are alive today makes you a living proof. Àìmọye àwọn ènìyàn tó wà nílé ìwòsàn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó kán lápá. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó kán lẹ́sẹ̀. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó fọ́ lójú. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó gé lórí. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó ya wèrè. Ọba tí ò jẹ́ kó máa gbé ẹ dìgbàdìgbà kiri. Ẹ fi ọpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run yẹn. Àkìkìtà Elédùmarè ọba mi apálá tó solé ayé ró. Ẹ̀rù jẹ̀jẹ̀ nínú àwọn ọ̀run yágbóyájú ọkùnrin ogun. Panipani tí ayé ń sáyà. Ẹ fi ọpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run. If you know you are a living proof in the house, join us and praise the Lord.
Àní Àtàbàtúbú Ẹlẹ́dùmarè gbanigbani tí ayé ń fẹ́. Àtòfiṣẹ́ ogun rán mo gbé ọ̀gá o. Mo gbé ọ̀gá o. Mo gbé ọ̀gá o. Ọba ìgbàlà. Mo gbé ọ̀gá. Mo gbé ọ̀gá. Mo gbé ọ̀gá o. Ọba ìgbàlà. Torí náà, ìgbà tí mo wà láyé sẹ́yìn mi àyìn bàbá. Àní ẹni tí kò yí bàbá. Ògùn gẹlẹ́tẹ̀ ni. Ẹ sọ pé mo lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ bí oyin bàbá. Ògùn gẹlẹ́tẹ̀ ni. Àní ó bí mo láyé bí oyin bàbá. Ògùn gẹlẹ́tẹ̀ ni. Ọba onílé ayọ̀ mo gbé dá. Ọba ẹlẹ́rù níyì mo gbé. Mo gbé ọ̀gá.
flavor.com.
Today, we've come to sing and lift our hands around the today, this today, we've come to sing, we've come to dance, so why don't tell me? Our Father in heaven and our regular, I think to the ring in the mountain, every day I wake up and I ask myself, again they come to marry you, should goodness up, I'm coming on the young my heart was so body, you know, no pussy can kind of yo, I be the woman, no, I'm coming on the young my heart was so body, you know, no pussy can kind of yo, I be the woman, no. Give me power, it's your love, everybody sing out. It's your love, I said that this God, I like Camo. You do me well, my God, in a small. When I get down on my knees to pray, he answer me. And then he pick me from the dust, my guy, he pamper me. I said that this God, I like Camo. You do me well, my God, in a small. When I get down on my knees to pray, he answer me. And then he pick me from the dust, my guy, he pamper me. I said I want to need I lift up my hands. I start to this shout. I want to praise God. I said I want to need.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you one of the best choirs in the city of Lagos, Nigeria.
NigerPraise.com.
Come on now. Baby, what? Nipa, huh? Say what? Say what? Lodi now. Let's go. Are you ready for step two? Are you ready for step two? 1, 2, 3, let's go, say.
You give me teacher. Shake it, tipo. Ọrùn ti ṣí. Ire mi wọlé dé. Mo ti lálùyọ. Omi lórí skyscraper. Mo ti wà lókè. Má lọ́nà gẹ̀rẹ̀. Wá bá mi lókè.
I am reason. I'm seated in this glory. If you look me, you will see, say I am over. I just laying a post. It just a bust in my brain. Everywhere you go, I got papa. I'm in love with you.
Baby, what? I can hear you. Say what? Say what? Ladies and gentlemen, you don't mean it. Let's go. Can you count it? Can you think of it? Of course. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he has done for me, I don't think count. I don't think count. I don't think count. You the dry counter. I don't think count. You the dry counter. I don't think count. It's that pizza.
It's time for us to get into the panel session, the main discussion for this afternoon. And what we will be talking about this afternoon is surviving the current economy. We all know what's going on in the country. We all know what's going on in the nation, from inflation to currency devaluation and spike in poverty level and unemployment, amongst others. Yesterday, Daddy preached, Pastor Femi Emmanuel preached about flourishing in farming. And I believe that will set a precedent to what we will talk about today. He highlighted that famine is not new and it happens. Hence, what is going on in the country, not just Nigeria and other parts, would also hear the news of what's going on in the UK and all other parts of the world. It is not strange. And he also stated that there is opportunity in farming. So our discussion today is not focused on lamenting and complaining and talking about all the sad stories, but rather we want to focus and discuss strategies to survive and succeed even amidst all that is happening in the country right now. And that's why our discussion today is a very important one. It's not just one focused on businesses. It covers businesses. It covers ministries. It covers your individual everyday spendings. It goes all the way to even you as a student. How can we survive and how can we maximize this season, this session, and the current economy? So it's a panel session, and I have the panelists already seated. And I would love you to welcome them and celebrate them as I invite them. But as I invite them, as they come one person at a time, their profiles shall be read. But to welcome our first panelist, I'd like you to put your hands together as I welcome Fumi Awe. Please put your hands together for her. She comes forward. Miss Awe Oluwa Fumilola is a beauty artist and business owner. She is the founder and CEO of Makeda Beauty Hub, located in Bodija, Ibadan. A beauty business she has operated and flourished in for over 10 years. Her aim is to provide original makeup and beauty needs all over the world. Makeda Beauty Hub also run an academy that has produced over 100 students who are also excelling at their craft. Please put your hands together for her once again. And once again, let's put our hands together as I welcome back to the stage John Asegbo. Please put your hands together for him. I'd like to go through his profile briefly again. John Asegbo is recognized as Africa's leading emotional intelligence expert, working with individuals, families, and organizations to maximize potential and achieve their goals by leveraging the power of emotional intelligence. He is presently the lead consultant at Evlos Consulting, a company that helps organizations achieve strategic goals through consulting and training in strategy, customer retention, emotional intelligence, customer relationship, effective communication, productivity, leadership, team bonding, sales, and project management. He is also a certified therapist, coach, and counselor, majoring in public speaking, stress, depression, and anger management. Please let's put our hands together for him once again. It's such a pleasure to have you. And it's our honor and delight to have the Director General of Oyo State Investment and Public-Private Partnership Agency, Mrs. Lola Olutola. Please welcome. I'd like to read her profile. Lola Olutola is a Christian and Nigerian from Oyo State. She is the current Director General of Oyo State Investment and Public-Private Partnership Agency, Oyo SIPA. She was appointed as the Director General of Oyo SIPA in 2021 under the able leadership of His Excellency, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, Nigeria. She is a financial expert with over 15 years of experience and has extensive understanding of market trends in addition to in-depth knowledge of statutory legislation and regulations. Recent knowledge acquires include, but is not limited to, improving SMEs modus operandi, public-private partnership coordination, and managing investment efficiency. Please let's appreciate how once again it's such an honor to have them here. I'd like to request for the microphone from the stands for our panelists. And I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Bailumi Adedoja. It's a privilege moderating this session. Thank you. Permit me to have my seat too. Oh, great. Oh, pardon me, the microphones are here. The reality in Nigeria today is that most businesses are struggling to survive. And several businesses have closed. Even salary earners are no exception to the current state of the economy. A lot of people have closed their businesses and relocated to other countries. And that is no small thing, because closed businesses equal to loss of jobs and even death for several people. So yes, this calls for concern. But beyond that, we need to strategize. We need to strategize, and we need to have a plan on how we can survive. Not only survive, but succeed in this current economy. So that's why we have our able panelists here, and I'm sure with their level of experience, their level of knowledge, and the businesses they've interacted with over the years, they will be able to provide some of these strategies to help. Some of the existing challenges, we have all over the world is global inflation. We have challenges such as rise of energy costs, weakening currency, and even some unfavorable policies. So I'd like us to go straight. But before we do that, I'd like the ushers to please distribute the white slip to the congregation. So if you have a question, kindly note it in the sheet of paper, pass it to the ushers, and they will get it down here so we can answer some of your questions. Now, getting straight to the questions. We have heard the teaching over and over again in this house that with famine, with recession, with every setback, there is always an opportunity to it. And that's why we are interested in knowing what are some of the opportunities, what are some of the things that one could look forward to, some opportunities one could take advantage of. For instance, during the pandemic, in some climes we are still in the pandemic, but during COVID, at its peak, so many people resorted to, they started using Zoom, virtual meetings, as John mentioned earlier, and so many other methods. And I'm sure, especially that company Zoom, they made a whole lot of money because of what was going on. So I'd like to start with a business owner we have here. We'd like to know, at the moment, what are the opportunities you see, especially at this time with the recession and financial downturn?
Very much. Firstly, I would like to say that as business owners, we see opportunities in problems. So we take advantage of current situation of the country. For instance, during the pandemic, during the lockdown, we made more sales because we took advantage of that current situation, of the current problem. People were at home. So many people were learning crafts. So many people resulted into learning makeup. And so we had a lot of trainings. We had a lot of, and then that also equated into more sales for makeup items. So we took advantage of that situation, and that has helped. So right now, that's the same thing we're doing.
Yes, okay, so I'd just like to expatiate on that. So because people are losing their jobs, so people are out there searching for skills, yes, which is something you're offering. All right, thank you. And I'd like to also move this question and also ask John, because you interact with so many businesses. Amongst the businesses you interact with, the trainings, could you please suggest some of the opportunities, specifics, that you think can many young people these days, businesses, can maximize in this time and in this climb?
Thank you very much. There are two sides to it from what I would like to say. When you say maximize, it may mean starting something different entirely, and when you say maximize, it may mean leveraging what you have presently and doing it differently. Okay, so if you're a business owner, I'm sure you already know by now that if you're going to excel today, you must leverage social media for business. You cut costs and make more money. So when a business enters into a time of difficulty, there are two things as a business consultant I want to do for you. It will help you either put your cost at constant level or reduce it while we try to increase your revenue. And today, one of the ways you can cut cost or reduce cost is by leveraging technology. So when I go out to deliver a training, I have to travel, I have to lodge in a hotel. But now I can deliver a training via Zoom. My cost is less, and sometimes I'm paid the same amount of money. You understand what I'm saying? So you can leverage technology to survive, not just survive, but thrive, because like she said, some businesses are thriving. Now, another reality, and we can't run away from this, the kind of business that you're doing, whether you like it or not, is also a factor. If you're in a business that the demand has reduced as a result of the pandemic or the economic meltdown, then you may need to have a rethink, which is why some young people then decided to go and learn relevant skills. So let me advise you, for those of us who want to start a business, you want to start a business, please consider the relevance. Don't just do it because your friend is doing it or someone said it's a good idea. Consider the relevance and the sustainability of that business in terms of the demand. Let me take an example. If you are in a food business, you can never go wrong no matter how bad the economy turns, except you don't do it right. If you're in a food, something that people consume every day, then you just have to be innovative and you will continue to make your profit. My time is short, so I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like also to talk to you, ma'am, about, because you have extensive knowledge in market trends. And while John was talking, he was talking about ensure that the business or whatever you're about to venture into, ensure it's something that is relevant, one, and sustainable. I understand sustainability is a different ballgame and relevance is one. I'd like to ask, still talking about the opportunities in this current season, what are some of those businesses, what are some of those opportunities, but especially the businesses or the skills one could develop on that would be a great asset at this time?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Now, individually and as a person, we have to talk to ourselves on how to develop ourselves. Because there is the need for people to do this, like this session that we are having. But another thing about it is you as a person proceeding after that and putting to use things that can be of beneficial to you and even into your business space. And one of the things that is also important for business relevance is for you to be able to cater for what is not and bring it into existence. And that is how you as a business person can stay relevant. If you are providing a service that is in need, actually, you will definitely remain relevant. Because you have vendors, you have different other business owners that will even want to tap into the wealth of knowledge that you have.
Okay, so permit me to cut in there. Now, you spoke about businesses that are in need, that people need at the moment. That would require research, right? To know what businesses to venture, the businesses that are in need. Because sometimes you might not know what someone else needs unless you are in their shoes. So would that require some sort of research? Or how do we get to know what business is in need at the moment, are needed at the moment?
Of course, definitely you need to do your own research. But there are a lot of avenues and ways of you going about it, which is more on information. And information is the bedrock of almost and virtually every other thing. Because if you don't have an idea of what you actually want to do, then there's nothing for you to do. Because a lot of persons tend to fail because they don't even have an idea of what is it that they are doing. That will be the bedrock. So for you to be able to try and to move on, one of the things that you actually need is to get information and be properly informed and aware of the business that you want to go to. Then from there, you can take a step further and start developing your plan and the business scope that you want to achieve.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to also stress that part of sustainability. You, now moving over to Fumiawe, you have a business that you've been running for 10 years, and 10 years is no joke. People start some businesses, and in 2 years, 3 years, they are bored, something happened, the business trends kick them out. How have you been able to sustain it? What has been the strategy? Because recession didn't just start today. Economic downturn, ups and downs, and all of that didn't just happen now. But how have you been able to stay afloat?
Thank you. So one of the major things that we did was to have a large online presence, was to, take advantage of social media, because people are always online. Youths are always online. And I do a business that is majorly, that their youths are majorly interested in. So I just have to put myself out there, put myself on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, dance, just make sure that I sell my markets. I put my markets on my head and I sell what I sell. So that is one of the things that we take advantage of. And also, we've, over the years, created a relationship with our customers. So we don't just make it look like, oh, we need your money, we're selling this, come and buy, and that is it. We have a relationship with our clients, we have a relationship with our customers. Whether we're doing business, whether we're selling or not, we reach out to them. We reach out to them just to show some love, just on their birthdays, just on a normal day, whether business or not. And they end up, coming around and buying.
Yeah,
all the time.
I think that's a key point. Relationship, building relationship. John, you lead Evlos. Did I pronounce it correctly? I've been, quite, okay, Evlos. All right, so you lead Evlos and you do a lot of training. Now she said something about relationship. And that also, because I saw in your profile, you spoke about customer relationship. Because personally, sometimes I'm not interested in buying certain things because of the product, but because of the person selling it. How, in this era, can one maximize relationship such that the person succeeds in business?
Thank you very much. That's a powerful question, because as an emotionally intelligent person, I understand that people respond based on connection. A person will not trust you if they don't feel connected to you. So one of the goals of a business owner today is to build, so what we call relationship, if you don't want it to be ambiguous, is saying you want to build connection. because then relationship has different context. But just say build connection. Connection will give birth to trust. And when someone trusts you, they will listen to you. When they trust you, they will buy from you. So it is important that you continue. And how do you build connection? One way is to be consistent. I cannot say this enough. If you are a business owner or an intending business owner, you cannot undermine the importance of consistency. What does that mean? You must post on your page every day, because the average person has an attention span of about 8 seconds. Just the same way we're in this room now. I can tell you that a good number of people are already tired because attention span has reduced. So for someone to remember you, they must see you regularly. You must show up regularly. You can't shut down your page and not post for a week and come a week after and say, come and buy my shoes. They will not buy from you. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So that is one way. You build connection by being consistent. You build connection by providing useful information. So there's something I do that I share information around how to manage your emotion and mental health every day. And then once in a while, I then make an offer. And people will take you on the offer because you have been providing value. By information, I mean valuable information. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to leverage on your experience and knowledge as the DG of Oyo State Investment and Public-Private Partnership Agency. There is something that says constant, and that is change. And not using the word change right now, let's use the word innovation. Innovation is constant. Innovation is what many surviving business, Avyoshi spoke about how COVID came and how they had to innovate and go and leverage on this other side of the business of trainings and start using social media more. So what are the innovative practices that you believe businesses could use, brands? Because I don't think this is just for people who have businesses, your personal brand. Some businesses will go check your page, your Instagram page, and see how your posts and your lifestyle correlates with their values. So how can one leverage innovation to promote the business brand and, fit into this time?
Thank you very much for that. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result is practically impossible. Because if you are working on the same trend and your take home or your revenue per day is 200,000 and you keep doing it that same way, I can tell you that it's two of one things that can happen, or both things. You stay the same way you are, or you dwindle. So you need to be able to twig in new ideas and new things to help improve in your business. And that's one of the things, really, we saw that as the aftermath of the COVID pandemic, that a lot of innovative measures came in. And a lot of businesses had seen that via this, you can trend and you can make more sales. And I want to make reference to my sister here. She used that optimally and to the advantage of her business. But again, a lot of us have been hearing about this new technological innovation that is out there, the social media space and all. But because of our own, I wouldn't want to say myopic, but our mentality that this is the way I've always been doing this is the way I'll keep on doing this. In a matter of time, if we are not careful, we'll thin out. Another thing is we need to go out to market what we are selling. Because if you as yourself cannot talk and vouch for what you have as a product or a service or as an idea, then how do you expect me to buy into it and also to patronize you for you to have sales? So we need to be aggressive further in our marketing strategies. And being aggressive, I'm not referring to you hooking up to someone that you must buy, but you need to even have a one-on-one discussion and make them to understand the need of them doing that. And also the digital space is out there. there's a whole world of opportunity to harness on. There are a whole lot of innovations that we can imbibe into our business to even boost ourselves and to add to our ADS at the end of the period.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, over and over again, we have heard the discussion about social media. And I'd like to speak for many people. Some people have tried. I checked some people's social media page. Their followers and their posts, almost the same number. They posted 500 times, and they have 500 followers. Or probably they even have more posts than followers. I understand that we might not have a social media strategist, but I'm curious what's happening, what's going on, because I realized that a whole lot goes into making social media posts, you're making reels. You have to be a creative-minded person. If not, you just keep pushing things people don't want to see or things that irritate people. I mean, when your background, your light, and all that. So what strategies? So let's just touch on that briefly. What strategies? Because social media was yesterday. I opened Instagram briefly, and I realized for Instagram, it's not the stories. When you go to their DMs, it comes with this message, yes, and then you begin to talk about different people were putting different. How can one flow with social media? How can one do it in such a way that it makes sense and it works, so that I don't have the same followers as my posts? I mean, that it brings the increase over time. That's to you, for me. How have you been doing it?
Okay, so for social media, before I started converting my posts to sales, it used to be just boring. I post pictures and I leave. I come back and post pictures and I leave. But I discovered that posting regularly will put you in the mind of your target market. So posting regularly will put you in the minds of your target market. One, posting videos, more importantly, posting videos will register on people's minds. So then also don't make it look like you're just posting that product or that service. Make it look fun. People want to laugh because people are going through a lot. So people want to laugh. Post a funny video. Let it not just be for sales. Let it be like a lifestyle. Let it be some funny video. And then you can pop in your service or your product in there. And that registers that product in people's minds. Also, when you post regularly, it brings your page forward, because there's this algorithm thing with Instagram and Facebook that just takes your post downwards. But when you post regularly, it brings your feeds, it brings your post forward, and when people open Instagram or WhatsApp, or your post comes up first. So that has worked for me.
Yeah, so the point here is, I don't know if there's any addition from any. Okay, you'd like to say something?
Yes, there's something called hashtags, right? And I have learned that hashtags, people search for keywords when they go online. And so when you are creating your content, this works for me. So I see someone from, as far as, I've worked with people in India who reach out to me, oh, I'm doing a live program, can you come up online? And how did they probably just searched emotional intelligence. And my name popped up. So when I make a post on Instagram, for instance, I will put hashtag emotional intelligence. If anybody searches emotional intelligence anywhere, chances are that my post will pop up. So it is about your target audience. The reason why you post multiple things and nobody is engaging is because you've not been able to connect. Not everybody is your customer. Not everybody is meant to buy from you. Your ability to identify your target market or audience and connect with them is what will guarantee sales. Of course, after then, you start making offerings. Some people don't make offers. They just create awareness. It's two different things. If you post an item and you don't say how much, how many, when they will get it, how they will pay, you are not making an offer. Am I making sense? So many of us are struggling because we are not doing it the right way. And then there's another thing called, sponsored ads. They help you to target specific locations, specific age brackets, specific kinds of people. And it is, you stand a higher chance of making sales when you do sponsored ads. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So the point there is more about engagement. So ask yourself, what you are putting out there, is this something you would wait if you were not the one putting that content? Would you wait, listen, or watch it? So you want to put out something that people will be excited to interact with. I'd like to pick a question that came in. We have more questions here, but I'd like to pick this because I realized it's appearing twice in 2 questions here. Please keep your questions coming in. We'll address them. Even if we can't address everything, we'll address key questions. So please send them in. So there's 2 questions we're talking about: surviving competition. Competition, because one thing I've realized with this age and time is if people can hear something is happening there, everybody will rush there. So it's like, and this other area they've rushed from is some kind of vacant. So everybody is already rushing there, whether they know it or they don't know it. And then you have to compete with people. And some people know how to leverage it further. But how can one survive competition? Especially if you don't have the level of resources your competitor. For instance, some people have certain businesses. For instance, a beauty business. There are some other beauty business like Zara and some other ones that are well known internationally. How can one, because you've related with private organizations, public organizations, how can one stay afloat and how can one excel even amidst all that competition?
Thank you very much. Competitions actually should not be seen as a threat, but should be seen as a stepping stone to make more successes. Because from my own perspective, and I want to make reference to just us coming here today, some persons came by public transport. And if that keke or that bus driver or whichever public transport you came in was not on the road at that time, the money that he realized from the trip you made to this place, we wouldn't have made it. And if you look at it, there are a lot of vehicles on the road. There are a lot of Okada men on the road. So if he or she had not come out at that particular time, would have missed out that opportunity. So one of the things that businesses actually need to thrive more is to harness on the competition that you have. Enter that competitive space. Because if you are scared and you move backward, you will be doing yourself a whole lot more harm than benefit. Because the fact that the other competitor is doing more, now look at what it is he or she is doing. Build on it and add more to it, if you can do more to it. A lot of competitions, for you to even surmount it, does not always require financial involvement. A lot might even require more of your time. If you've been working for 5 hours before, assuming, and I can tell you, if you have a target to meet, you definitely add to your workspace. But some of us are more used to, it's 5 hours, it's 5 hours already. I am tired, I'm going. But the competitor out there is not even sleeping. So why must we as Christians in business now be snoring? It's 2 different things. Your competitor is not out there sleeping over the night they are working. But we are there snoring and we'll just wake up and see the innovations coming out. So we need to, on ourselves, even when we see those things and you see it as a challenge to your business, my brother, my sister, work with it. do something that you can do, or whatever it is that is peculiar to your business. Because if I start mentioning it, what is good for the goose might not be good for the gander. What is good for your business might not be applicable to the other person. But you are in a better position to be able to factor and see what the same person you're in the same space is doing, and you can do differently to surmount that competition.
Yes, thank you. Very important idea. So you need to work harder, do more research. The person is not succeeding because the person has a lucky charm or something the person is doing. To have sustainable success, you have to make some investment. And now let's talk about relevance and indispensability. Those, they usually say nobody's indispensable. The truth is that there are some things that are indispensable. There are certain businesses in the world that if they go off the market, yes, a competitor will take it up and it will be great, but you will miss that product. You'll talk about it. I remember some things they used to sell when I was a child, and they will still talk about it right now. That thing was so nice. But we've not necessarily found an exact replacement to it. How can a business stay relevant and indispensable through the age and time? But we understand some business phase out with time. But how can you stay relevant and indispensable? Over to you, Fumi.
Okay, so one thing that I've noticed, over 10 years in business, is I'll still go back to relationship. So we have like a one-on-one. I'm always present. I don't make it look like, okay, I have staff, and then it's just the staff relating with my clients. So I'm always present. There is a face to the business. There is someone called Makeda, because people want to relate with you directly. People want to have like a sense of, people have like a sense of entitlement, so to say that, oh, I know her. She's the owner of the place. I dealt with her directly. You understand? So when you have a business, do not push everything out to your staff only and expect that business to be sustainable. Be present. Show your face. Be there. Do other value-added services. Don't make it look like, okay, you come, you buy your product, and you go. No. Do like gifts with purchase. That gives you an edge. It makes you one of the people that people will run to, one of the sellers that people will run to and say, when I go to Makeda Beauty, when I buy one thing, they give me another. It could be a little gift, a pencil, just something small. It is an addition to whatever it is that they've bought. And that just helps you to get that relationship with them, and then that sustains your business.
Thank you. That's a very important point. Now, this question is to John, and this is a very important one. And it says, talking about surviving in the current economy, we have been focusing only on those who already own businesses. What about a large percentage of youth who have nothing to do? No money to set up business. What can they do to survive in this economy? What are the little known biz? Now, this is, okay, so how can they survive in the current, is it possible to survive in the current economy without a job? Start with.
Without a job?
Without a job or a business? That's the first question. Yes,
As an
no.
adult? How are you going to survive?
Chorus, no. Okay, so how? Now let's just go straight.
Okay,
we know.
Thank you for that question. I was going to request to speak on that because I noticed that we've been talking about people who own businesses and things like that. And I know that in this room, there are younger people who are still trying to find themselves. So one thing I would say to you is that there are certain skills that entry requirement is very low, yet returns can be very high. Let me give you an example. If you're a digital marketer, all you need is your phone and your data. So there are people who are social media managers. I know somebody who is handling, let's take for an example, our daddy here is too busy. He cannot manage his social media. They hire an actual social media manager who sits in his house and posts content on behalf of somebody else and collects money. Young people, can you hear me? So that same time you spend chatting away the time on WhatsApp, you can spend that time also making money. So I've mentioned one skill, digital marketing. Entry level is low, cost is low. You don't need any extra money than the phone, the digital phone you already have, and data. And then all you need to do is to tell people. You can come to church and tell the busy people in your church, pick 50 of them. Tell them, oh, I can help you manage your social media page for 10,000 naira a week or 20,000 naira a month. And the person goes, yeah, I'm so busy. Don't worry, I'll do so. By the time you have 5 clients, you can be making as much as 100,000 naira a month without stepping out of your house. It is not, what I'm saying is not far-fetched. I know a couple of people who do it. I am considering hiring a social media manager because some of us, the technical part of our work keeps us so busy that we don't have time for. That's a problem. Okay. All you need to do is solve that problem. Okay. Now, if you can become a data scientist, young people, I came here for you. Data science is powerful. If you can learn software development, it is powerful.
Data science.
Yes.
What do you mean by data science?
So data is all over the place. Let's take Facebook for an example. Facebook collects information from you. Sometimes they'll do a quick survey. They collect that information. They need people to analyze that information because they use that information to develop certain products that they then sell back to people. So if you're a data analyst or you can venture into data analyst, you are going to be very well. You just need to learn how to use certain data analysis tools. And then you take, an example is how many male and female are in this room. We can use that information to determine how much, let's say, kind of food we will serve, what kind of message we will preach. That is data. And every time people want to use data, and so if you can learn how to analyze data, you'll be very, very needed. Thirdly, software development. Young people, please listen to me. If you can learn coding, if you're passionate about it, please go and learn how to code. These days, there are softwares that you can use to learn how to code even faster. This is what will help you. And entry requirement is low, and you can begin to make money quickly. Another thing, please, I want to help you young people.
Briefly.
Freelance writing, email writing. You can make money by writing emails for organization. Please do not wait for your parents. They already have a lot of load on their weight. If you want to talk to me, you can reach out. There's a lot you can do, and you will make money without putting in so much money. Thank you very much.
I think we'll discuss more on that. But it seems as though you have something to add.
Yes, I actually want to talk to the younger generation. Because one of the things that we in the jet age, we call ourselves as in the Z generations, actually. There is this mindset of, I cannot get it. Jobs are really out there. But it's not by sitting down at home that it will come and meet you. One of the ways where you can even start is more mentorship. You are interested in starting this particular business. There's someone, a member of your church, that is doing that same business. Why not go and learn under them? That is a step for you to even be able to start your own. Because by the time you have the money, the so-called money or resources that you are looking for, you already have the idea. You have the knowledge. You have the experience. So to commence is way, way easier. So why can't we, and why a lot of persons run or are shy away from this is more or less like, so I have to tell you that volunteering is part of your resume, if I can put it that way. Fine, you didn't get the job, you didn't get, it wasn't a job offer, but it's what you can add to your work experience. Nobody will ask you where you paid for it. Nobody wants to know. But the fact that you have that experience and you are able to learn on the job is good enough for you to even step further and you will be able to soar higher and move faster than your colleagues and your peers and your friends that are sitting at home on WhatsApp, reading other people's business and helping them to make money. While you can be there making the money and they are reading about you. Why not change the narrative? That is what we as youth, and I'm actually, because some people are way older, but you have the years way ahead of you. So why will you sit down and say there's no job, wasting away those years? Please, you can just go into volunteering services. And I assure you, there are a lot of businesses that they will employ you. You'll be there for just a week or 2 weeks, and they will put you on their payroll. But if you don't go and start that process, bros, you will stay there. I'm sorry to say, it's not a course, actually. If you don't move out, you might not be able to get that which you actually seek to achieve.
Yes,
Thank you.
I think that addresses the question, people asking questions about how can they start a business that they are skilled, that they have the skill, but really have no capital. How can they venture? I think one point there is actually volunteering, learning from the person. How did you start your business? I would like to start. And in fact, I think there are people that would also like to invest in people that they see have some level of prospect. John, I'd like you to develop on that.
Nobody wants to invest on potential. That you have a potential is not enough. You must begin. When you have started, then someone will cite you and they will come and ask. I'm talking about asking for support. So whatever it is you want to do, please start. There's one of the write-up that was sent to me about asking for when you want to go for financial support in terms of loan. Nobody will give a loan to a business that they cannot see certain effort. So for instance, if the CBN wants to give you a loan, they want to come to that your small shop and see how many machines do you have. What's your daily turnover, what's your monthly turnover. And then they are able to say, okay, this person is productive. And then they give you a loan. And this is, I hope I'm answering the right question, though.
You're answering the right question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Is there something else?
No, that's good. But if I would just move, I'm going to come back to the question regarding loan and capital. But I'd like to have a practical insight. And I know you're also burning with a particular response you'd like to give. But I'd like to ask you, Fumi, how did you start your business? Did you have some money saved up? Because our father, Pastor Femi Manuel, always say, start your business with your savings. What you've saved up over the time is what you should use to start your business. But some people will claim that they don't even have what they used to even start saving in the first place. But I'd like to ask from a very practical point of view, how do you start? I'd like you to be as transparent as much as possible.
Okay, so I started very, very small. After service, I actually
What was your
saved
startup
up
capital like? Okay.
30,000.
30,000.
Yes. I started with my allowance from service year. So I saved up all my allowances for 12 months. I didn't touch it, but I didn't start with the entire allowance. I mean, then we're paid 9,000 naira. So I didn't start with everything. I pulled out 30,000. My first purchase was for 30,000 naira. So I bought them. And to God who made me, I bought rubbish.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I bought colors that were not matching our skin tones. So, I mean, that made my risk very small. So imagine if I started big and then maybe I put in 200,000, I would have wasted all 200,000 naira. So I started small and then I began to grow. I was putting back profits, all the profits that I made.
So a lot of sacrifice.
It's a lot of work. 4 years of growing, we are still growing. 4 years of growing and we're still growing. So, put back all the profits. I was the CEO, the cleaner, the salesperson. I was everything. I was doing it all by myself. I mean, for that period of growth. And then after a while, the business started growing. I mean, I started by carrying souvenir bag. Like my products was inside just a souvenir bag. And I would go to offices, I would go to friends' places, and I'll say, oh, I have this product for sale. And we started, and they said, oh, no, I don't want this color. Don't.
Okay. So that came with some feedbacks.
So I will say, oh, I don't have this color, but you will definitely get it. Give me some days. And then I will buy them, and then I'll call them back. Okay, I have this product, and I'll deliver it personally. So I was putting in all the work. And then at a time, I needed a space because people started calling me. At that time, I had put up all my products on social media. And then I started getting calls. Oh, I never knew we could get this kind of product in Ibadan. Please, where are you? How can I see it? Because of trust issues, people want to actually see that, oh, you really have this product. So they would want to see you. Do you have a space? Do you have a place? I'll say no, but I can meet you up somewhere. And so I'll go there, and then we'll meet, a safe place. Please do not go to meet a customer in their house. Do not go to meet a customer in a place that is not safe. Always make sure you have a common ground, a public place. So I had a brother who had an office. So I would go there, and then we'll meet there, and then I'll put my things on the table, and they'll pick and buy and be like, oh wow, I never knew we could get this foreign brands here in Ibadan. And like that, the social media presence became, it started growing. And over the years, it has been like that. And then that's just it. I started with 30,000 and we grew over the years.
Okay. Now, that's great. I'd like to come back to you to talk about if you've ever had any a need to probably source for funds externally. But before we get to that, I'd like to ask you, you know quite a lot about investments, people coming out, oh, they need this investment. What are the things people who invest look out for? Because I see there are so many startups these days. Everyone is, CEO of this startup, that startup in Abuja, startup in this place. What are the things to look out for? Whether the person is about to start, first, is there any, he already said that nobody wants to invest in potential. Is it possible? Because I think that's the hopes of some young people, why they've not saved up, because they believe someone somewhere is going to come and see their potential and invest in it. Do you see that working, one? And two, for businesses, what are the things you look out for before an investment is, carried out and it goes through?
Okay, things to look out for am I the prospective investor or for you to come and invest in me? Let me understand.
I think we'll like to take it from both ends. Yes.
Okay, really. As things to look out for, if I want to bring it down a little, because I want to believe that a majority. The question is more in reference to small, medium, and scale businesses, not the major and the big, because there's investment opportunities in diverse areas and in different quantums too. But one of the things on investment and things to look out for, I'll start from being someone, I want someone to invest in me. And what I mean by that is wanting someone to invest in me is I have this idea, but I don't have, because investment most times is more financial if I get it. Now, one of the personality traits that business owners, and what I mean by is the person that has the business needs to have is more of integrity, because it's a bedrock of a whole lot of things. And I'll break it down more into our everyday life and our everyday living. Some of us are not even investing in ourselves, and you want someone to come and invest in you. Tell me, how possible is that? Because on your own self and as an old person, you are not taking that stride to invest in yourself. People around, they see you, and in your small circle, there's that feeling that this person is not even serious for anything. And I can bet it with you to invest in that type of person. And each and every one of us, as I'm speaking, one or two persons that you know that might even be in your family will flash to your mind. Because and there are even situations and instances where even spouses, husband and wife, cannot invest in themselves because the other person, there's this integrity issue. If I borrow you money, you will not return it. And you will not even make mention of it again. I'll be the one pursuing you for my money. Bros, I will not invest again. The first investment will be seen, might be written off as bad debt. But for you to come back and come and meet me to invest again is a no-go area, because I will not want to throw my stone into a deep and I will not be able to find it. So that's one area that we need to work on ourselves personally. As we are putting ourselves as a proposed investment opportunity. If we are not seeing ourselves as working on ourselves to make ourselves a viable investment opportunity, then practically nobody will invest in us. Now, if I'm talking from an investor's perspective, which varies actually in diverse ways and different trends. Now, as an investor, I want to be sure that I'll be able to get the ROI on my investment. And what do I mean by the ROI? Because let me just break it down. It's returns on investment. If I'm investing my time in you, because it's time too, even as we are here, is an investment. You are making an investment on yourself to be here today, to be able to pick out some things. If I as an investor, I am taking out time to invest my time, not even my monetary thing into you, and you are not putting it into use and putting it in practice. It's almost like an investment wasted. So one of the things investors will look out for is, one, do you have what to invest in? Yes. Now, if you have what to invest with, you need to be able to speak on what you want me to come and invest in and be able to convince me that if I bring 10,000 naira into this business, this is what I plan to do. You should have like your plan and projections on what you plan to achieve. You should be able to table it down that, okay, over in the next so years or so period, this is what I look to having. You should have your business plan laid out, no matter how small your business is. Then another thing again is, even as businesses, we are saying we have businesses, but a lot of our businesses is what we know. You don't have any show of evidence. And what I mean by this is it does not cost that much. Some business registration is practically free if you use Smidan. There are other platforms. I'm not going deep into you doing CAC documentation and all that might cost you some money. But Smidan registration, there's also the one too by the corporate or your state cooperative agency. There's some registration of businesses that is relatively free, that a lot of prospective investors will want to see that, okay, you have some form of business that you are doing. Then the product too should be able to speak for itself. Because if I say that what you want me to invest in is not profitable, the possibility of investing is very, very slim. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. To you, John, I know you have this interest and passion for those people that, just about to venture in because of a lot of training to do. Now, I'd like us to focus now on a higher majority here, which are salary earners, and probably some people who have never started. But salary earners, so many people are planning to have a side hustle, quote. That's something else you're doing apart from your regular job. How can one, because most people pick a side hustle and another source of income, but it's not sustainable over time. They do it affects their other job. Because one stream of income is not working anymore. They do it affects your other job. The other job is suffering, you probably lose the job. The other business is not going so well. How can one have several sources of income in a sustainable way?
I can think of two things. One is passive income. That is the one that does not require your direct involvement. Okay? Identify opportunities that do not require your direct involvement, such that your other job is also going on while you're also in this other business and you're able to earn money. There are different options. I don't want to go into the details of passive income. Sometimes it may also mean putting money in another already established business where you get certain return monthly or yearly. Then another thing is this. There is the time element to productivity. Anything that is going to grow requires time. So if you have a side hustle, the number of hours you put into it will determine the kind of results you get. So it's a hard decision you need to make. For instance, you cannot be sleeping 7 hours a night when you have a day job and a side hustle. For a few years, you may need to make a sacrifice of sleeping maybe 4 or 5 hours and put in the other hours so that maybe your side hustle can grow to a point where you quit your day job. But let me tell you the truth. I have not found, even psychologically and mentally, that it is okay to run two businesses or a business and a job that demand the same amount of your time consistently for a long period of time. So you must have a strategic plan of maybe exiting your day job and facing your business full time at some point. But within the time that you're still doing both, then you must deny yourself pleasure as much as possible. Deny yourself 3 square meals so that you invest your time and your resources in your side hustle. My advice is that you should have a strategic plan for your side hustle to be big enough that you can quit your paid job. The truth is, you cannot, as an entrepreneur, you have a chance to make more money than if you're working a day job, especially in this part of the world. Depending on the space that you function in. Like her business has grown. If she was working in a bank over 4 years, she would agree with me that she may not be earning as much money as she's getting from her business today. So entrepreneurship is good, but you must have a strategy to it. Thank you very much.
Okay, just the point that John raised, I'd like you to answer yourself. So he said that if you were working in a bank, you might not be making as much as you're making right now. Do you agree? You agree?
I know, I consult for businesses.
Okay.
It's 10 years now, so I agree.
Okay, good. I'd like to, ask more because as it sounds, it seems as though you started right off after your service year and just got into business straight. Did you at any point, experience any limitation that probably got you doubting, and then you probably just thought of getting a job at that moment?
Well, at first, I was, of course, fresh from school. I was, of course, searching for a job. My parents want me to.
So it wasn't your initial plan
It was
to just
not
take to
initial.
business?
Well, business has always been the plan, because I was born into business, of course. So, but, I went to school and I actually wanted to pursue my career as an educationalist. So, I just felt like, okay, let's make some money while we are searching for the job.
So it was intended to be a side hustle and
Yes,
it turned to the major
actually, it was intended to be a side hustle. I did my first degree, my second degree. I was almost going into my third degree, and I thought,
Wow.
okay, let's make money now. We've gone to school, let's make some money. That's
So the truth is that you don't even know how much value in the long run that your side hustle or that small business that you're ignoring and not giving as much attention could bring you over time. Now let's talk about energy. We will lie. Whether you have a business or you don't have a business, energy is a big deal in Nigeria. From, electricity to fueling your vehicle, especially with the current price and availability of petrol at the moment, the cost of diesel and all of that. How can a business survive? Because now we know there are options of renewable energy, solar and all that, but these things are expensive, to be honest. How can a business, survive and stay afloat with this, and even an individual? Because many people, even in their houses, they want to know how they can minimize costs on things like this. Over to you, Lolutola.
Electricity generation is actually transcending now. And the way I am seeing it personally is soon, if in some years down the line, we most likely will not have what we call NEPA again. And what I mean by NEPA is the electricity holding company. Because as we speak, a lot of persons are moving away from the supply from this form of electricity into renewable energy. And the renewable energy is more from waste to wealth. And why I'm saying this is a lot of energy generation now is more from the waste that we are producing in our own houses. Some people are making money out of it. Okay. The nylon, the pure water, even the food that we are, there is now this process that is being used. And I know that there is this video I saw of someone that there's a fabrication that was less than 50,000 naira that was done, and all the waste that they are producing in the house is put into it and is used to power their light. They are not connected to NEPA. If we are talking of solar, really, their prices are coming. There's no harm in having solar panels, because at the long run, I can assure you, I have inverter in my house. So as the 240, I've been using inverter for years, even before I came down to Ibadan, because I came to Ibadan quite recently. And one of the things I've noticed too is, if you have backup power supply, depending on the type of businesses you have, because your business, if it does not require, because if it's a service that you are doing, you might not really require electricity per se, except you want to print documentations and if you have some potential clients coming on. But if you are running a cold room business, assuming, auntie, and you are depending on NEPA, as in electricity, it's a matter of time. Because your product, if you are not careful, will start going bad. So you need to be able to analyze the other form of electricity that you can use to boost and boom your business, which is individual specific and business specific. And from there, build on it, do your cost analysis, and I can assure you that at the long run, it might be capital incentive, sort of at the initial period, but at the long run, your takeoff on this other renewable energy that you are introducing will help you to be able to stay much more and longer in the business, to stay afloat than you probably are now.
Yes,
and again, we have an epileptic power supply, so
okay,
if you work with
that's like one big one. And he spoke about renewable energy, waste to wealth. I know someone here, that's Pastor Dimola Adirito, who talks about it frequently. I think he has more ideas regarding that, but we can't take it right now because of our time. So if it's something you're interested in, if that's another thing, that's another opportunity you could take advantage of. We are about rounding up, but there's a question directed to you. The question is, what is your state government offering? Is there any offer from your state government to start up businesses? What are the opportunities there are in your state for startup business that you could, we could take advantage of your presence here with us and learn about?
Startup businesses.
Or other businesses apart from startups.
Because that's what I actually want to say. Because we deal in supporting SMSEs and small-scale businesses. So it's expected that you already have a business. I don't know if you understand what to mean.
Sometimes I feel that SMEs is kind of ambiguous. What do you use in classifying a business as a small, medium?
And that's exactly what I'm saying. There's small. Small is you just have your side hustle. It's not a startup. You have a business that you're already doing.
What's like the capital range? Could it be 500,000 to like 2 million, or what's the range?
Okay.
Or can I be selling Coke or drinks in front of my house and
Of course, but again, on everything, for you to even for anyone to be able to help you, you must have something doing. That one is generally. For anyone I'm not even making reference to the state government now, but we'll go there. For anyone that wants to invest in you, you must be able to show that you have something doing actually. Because I have an idea is not enough. Because a lot of things, people will say, model idea, if you have that idea in your head, and it's not, by the time you enter into that space, that idea that you think is big and voluminous might fail you. So now, going to the question of what the state government have for businesses. The aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, and I'm very sure there's nobody here that even if it did not happen to you, it happened to someone you know, directly or indirectly, you are affected. And after that, although prior that, there had been different incentives for the state, by the state government to support businesses in the state. And I'll tell you that in any economy or any society, it's these small businesses that are actually making the economy to thrive, because the number is quite quantum. And the fact that a lot of persons are doing something too is an added advantage to the economy of a society, a state, a nation, or what have you. So the state government, through varied agencies, have been supporting businesses. I will make reference to my agency as the Investment and Public-Private Partnership. We have the HAM, a section, a department that caters for businesses. We have a department that caters for investment and investment opportunities in the state. And there's the Department for Public-Private Partnership that handles interaction between the state government and the private sector. Now, for the small-scale businesses, in recent times, the state government did a 1 billion naira loan incentive to small-scale businesses. And that was in 2020, after the COVID intervention, the COVID pandemic. And that ran for a period of a year. It ended last year, February, because when the main purpose and the target had met. I don't know if there's anyone.
How can one get access to this information? Because I'm sure so many businesses didn't even know there was.
I'll still say that. And most of these things, one of the things about we as a person, or a lot of persons, is they hear things but don't believe it. Because all this information was in the media space. It was announced on radio, it was announced on TV, there was TV broadcasts. Some team members went to the TV station to talk about it. But a lot of persons, the problem we have is, today, you understand, a lot of people don't believe in it. But those that believed in it applied for it and they were able to announce it. A total of, if I'm not mistaken, almost 5,000 businesses were supported in that effort. Then I also made mention, and even apart from that, there's these NG cares that, and what I mean by, we call it Oyo cares actually, but the generic name to it is NG cares, Nigeria cares. And it's a national program that it started just this year, actually, and it's Oyo Cares, because we brought it down home by naming it Oyo Cares. But a lot of states, it's only Oyo State that is participating in it. Almost all the 36 states, out of 36 plus 7, 37, even FCT, maybe it's like 10 states that did not key into that program.
Wow.
Now, this NG Cares is a grant to small-scale businesses. And like almost a month ago, if not, we've been doing media sensitizations back to back on it. And I'm sure a lot of persons heard it on the radio, even watched it on BCOS, and saw where explanation, jingles about it and all. But the thing again is, we've heard about it, but a lot of persons I want to think, they just want you to come and pull them. That come and take it. And one of the things about this is, this particular one is not even, it's a grant. And there are also criteria to it. And that's why a lot of persons are falling out of assessing small and minute opportunities that are open to business.
But how can one get all that information? Because I know time would not permit for us to get the criteria, how one can apply for it. Is there a website? Is it possible one just types educators or Google search?
There is. Yeah, it's all over. You can narrow it down to there's online, but it's already closing anyway, because it's in collaboration with the World Bank, and a lot of persons have been, although it's small scale, it's not something massive, because 120,000 to 40,000, depending on the sizes of your business. And there I'm making reference to businesses. Now, there's also the part of it too, this same NG Cares, that is also for farmers and for the agri sector too, where they help in providing farming materials for them. This particular session is handled by OISADA, the Oyo State Agri Development Agency. And that one too is going and in on. It's the same program, but handled by different agencies of the state government. And I tell you, a lot of farmers are getting the inputs that is needed for, because farming too is a business, if you ask me, because by the time we are able to build the food economy of the state or the country at large, we'll also have a better economy for ourselves too.
Yeah,
so I'll give you the details. Anyone that is interested can.
Okay, so
with the organizers, actually.
Yes, so you could approach any of the organizers. You could approach me if you need the details. I should communicate that. We are rounding off now. It's time for us to round off. But I'd like to get your final words for this panel session, starting with Fumiawe. I'd like to get your final words, but kind of narrow it down to something you wish someone told you, just at the point you were concluding your youth service corps and, thinking of starting the business. Something you wish you were told, something you wish you knew earlier.
Okay, something I wish I knew earlier was to have started earlier. I wish I had started while in school, because I believe most of your clients are right there, wherever you are, wherever you find yourself right now. That's where your client is. Thank you.
Starting earlier. So that's a great point. So it's not too early to start. It can be too late to start, but never too early to start. Okay, and you, John Asego.
My parting words to us today is that I'd like to say that find your path, and it will not matter who is ahead of you or behind you. Find your path, and it will not matter who is ahead of you or behind you. What I mean by that is this. If you find out what it is that is for you, you'll be able to cope with failure, because failure will come. There is nobody on this podium who has not failed. Everybody has failed at some point. But for a man who understands where he's going, failure will be a dashboard to push him forward. So find your path, follow it, and it will not matter who is ahead of you or behind you. Let me also add behind you, ahead of you, by saying that you don't need to compare yourself with anybody. One of the reasons why people are depressed and are committing suicide, and I'm passionate about that, is because we are seeing social media and people are comparing themselves with their mates who they finished school together, who have bought a house and bought a car. No two people are on the same speed of life. Stay on your track and you will arrive at your destination. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That was a deep one. Thank you. And to you, what are your parting words right now?
Thank you very much. I want to personally admonish each and every one of us to be able to have the mentality and the belief in ourselves. Because if you don't believe in yourself, really, nobody will. Now, after believing in yourself, work on your personality traits and your personality generally, because it speaks a whole lot about you. Your integrity, your approach to life and issues, and everything that is pertaining to you individually. Because that way you'll be able to transcend that and be able to bring into fusion different opportunities for yourself. And lastly, don't you ever give up. Because that is where a lot of people miss it. By the time you give up on life itself, almost nothing will come to you that will interest you. Not, even if it's brought on a platter of gold, you will not be interested. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on yourself. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Yes, we wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Please, let's put our hands together for our panelists as they return to their seats. Thank you very much. It was a great time learning. Please keep clapping. Please keep clapping. Now, here's an announcement for all youth representatives from different lifting centers nationally. Please, we have an important meeting right after this afternoon session. We will be meeting close to the altar here. So all youth representatives from our different lifting centers, please kindly come to this wing as we meet right after this session. Please, and I hope we all enjoy this session. Please, if you did, please put your hands together for God. And definitely, it goes beyond just hearing. It goes beyond taking notes. It's time for us to apply. Please put your hands together as I welcome now Pastor Paul Femi Mano. Please keep clapping till he's off here.
World Lifting Conference 2022. And living proof. How many of you were blessed this afternoon? How many of you will do something about what you heard? How many of us can see our future a bit clearly right now? God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. If you want to meet the speakers, please, we'll give you some permission to do that briefly after this session. Do that briefly after this session. We are coming back 5 p.m. for the evening session. So we have about 2 hours to take our rest, put some things in our mouth, refresh ourselves, and exactly 5 p.m. the service will start. 5 minutes to 5, we start with the opening prayers. Please, can we rise up on our feet? Can we rise up on our feet? Can we rise up on our feet? Can we just begin to give God thanks for everything we heard this afternoon and for the new work God is doing in our lives, for the new vistas we now see, the new skills that have been learned, the new opportunities before us. For those who were confused before and wisdom has been given, begin to thank God. I want you to start saying a word of prayer for all the facilitators today, those who worked behind the scenes, our invited guests, and everyone that has been part of the mechanism of making this a possibility. Begin to ask for testimonies for them, greater grace for them, greater light and guidance for them. May all of us be partakers of this living proof mandate. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Jesus, we thank you. We worship and we exalt your holy name. For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. The grace of God in fellowship, surely God's goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever.